The Angry Chicken Hearthstone podcast is produced by amove.tv. Check out Amove TV for more podcasts covering Blizzard games. For more of Jocelyn's gaming podcasts, visit jossplays.com. And to find many more podcasts with Ridiculous Hat, follow @RidiculousHat on Twitter. Every episode of TAC is made possible thanks to our legendary patrons over at patreon.com/TAC.
Time's up. Let's do this.
Legendary!
You face Jaraxxus. You smell like a leper gnome. I knew it. So hot.
A podcast about Hearthstone and Battlegrounds. This is The Angry Chicken!
Greetings and welcome back, everybody, and happy Patch Eve. This is The Angry Chicken. I'm Garrett, here as always with Jocelyn and Hat. I was fairly doing single names today, and Hat, yours is already like a handle, so I went with Hat instead of Ridiculous because it just didn't seem right. I guess I could call you Ridic.
Also, in all of the explaining was way longer than just his whole name.
It's, please, call me Hat. Ridiculous was my father. Ah!
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
We're done.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/TAC for this high quality program.
Yes, please pay us for this.
Oh my goodness. So we did a late episode last week so that we would actually know what the hell was coming to Battlegrounds. And it actually, I think, is going to end up working pretty damn perfectly because we didn't have a chance to talk about the data mined patch notes for standard balance changes, which we now have official patch notes for, and that's going to be the main topic of discussion for today. We've also got some of your questions that we're going to be answering. We're going to talk a little bit more about Battlegrounds, but
a little bit.
just a little buddy-sized discussion about BGs, but I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention, for those of you that may have missed it, the fact that Ixar put out internal stats for like every Hearthstone meta ever for the full history of this game. It is in a Twitter thread. If you're not already following Ixar, @IxarHS, I thought this was one of the most like fun and wildly fascinating threads that Dean has done, and that is saying something. Dean is a hell of a good Twitter follow to begin with. But I'm of two minds with this one. We either just kind of say that's cool and point people to it, or we do an entire episode about it, because I don't think there's an in-between on this. We want to go meta by meta and have a conversation. That's going to be a long one.
Yeah, no, I don't think we need to go meta by meta. I mean, my thoughts are just, it's really funny when you see like, well, even just these last three here. So Scholomance, Darkmoon, and Barons. It's like Scholomance Shaman's like this big, and then Darkmoon Shaman's like this big, and then Baron Shaman's back down to this again. And it's funny to see some of those like class fluctuations when you can kind of tell like something got nerfed. And then there's just Priest who's always a little bitty, except for like one time, and then everyone went never again.
There's a very dedicated group of masochists that play this game, okay? That's all you need to know. Also, like, I don't know.
You're also forgetting about the Raza Priest-Slice. The Raza Priest-Slice was pretty large and persistent.
I was thinking more of Death Knight Druids during Knights of the Frozen Throne. Half of that circle is Druid almost.
Yeah, that's definitely like it sticks out. It's shocking when you kind of see it. Just scrolling through pie charts, and then all of a sudden orange. Like, you guys think Rogue's bad. Have you seen Druid? Way back.
But any of us that were playing back then, this is kind of the thing that like. So this was my thought on this whole thing. Today I had Clark Hellscream posted he does his like daily questions or whatever. What is one of the most depressing Hearthstone images that you can think of? And I posted the headline for the In the Works article. And someone replied to me relatively recently, what is that? What is In the Works? And it just makes me think, like, that was what, 2018-ish?
I'm sorry, you're going to need to remind me what it is.
Remember the article where it was the middle of Boomsday? We didn't have a game director at the time. and the article was an attempt to start a new series of developer communications, and instead was a one-off article because they said, "We think standard is fine. We're not going to nerf Giggling Inventor. We have no plans to do so. By the way, we're canceling tournament mode. And let us know what you think Wild should be balanced." And also a bunch of other stuff that was super tone deaf. It did not
And it
go over
never
very
happened
well.
again.
Oh, that's right. Everyone you know and love is no longer on this team, and the world is on fire.
Yeah.
Basically, right? And so that was in the middle of the rudderless time of Hearthstone when there was no game director and we were trying to figure out what was going on. Again, M'Baku had been reigning for months and there was no end in sight. And that's something that it was a really pivotal moment for me in my relationship with the game. But a lot of people just didn't experience that. So these graphs, I think they're cool, but also I lived through most of this stuff. When we do an episode on what Hearthstone used to be and how it got to here, this is the reference for that. It's the backdrop. It's the data that informs it. As of right now, these are a bunch of really cool visual charts explaining the size of the orange slice. Jocelyn, you made a valiant attempt. I don't think it translates all that well to an audio format, but I like that you made the effort there. And Druid it's a really orange. I
It's
can't really
very
express how
orange.
orange it is. Very orange, large, significant. But you should go check it out. It's interesting. But I think the it's more of backdrop than centerpiece.
What I want to see, and we were talking a little bit about it in the pre-show as I attempt to words. I would really like to see, because obviously this is all internal stuff, and most of the data that we have available to us is from third parties. So we've got, HS Replay, we've got Vicious Syndicate. They give us really great information, but usually at a higher level because, as Hat, you pointed out, people who are giving their data to third party sites are probably pretty competitive because they've gone the extra mile to download the tool. So it would be really interesting to see from some of those third party sites, like a comparison of these internal stats on these specific metas versus what they've got behind closed doors on their side. Because I just want to know how, like, are the tools we use every day as semi-competitive Hearthstone players, or if you're Hat, like super ultra mega high legend players, then I just want to see like how those tools stack up to the internal stats, so that we can, when we do see the Hearthstone teams say stuff or release little bits of information, we can kind of like gauge like what HS Replay is showing versus Hearthstone.
It would be interesting for sure. It's
It'd be interesting. Like I don't need it, but it'd be cool.
It's something I get very excited. Let me rephrase that. Something I used to get very excited about over in Heroes of the Storm, because as of a couple of years ago, I'm now the owner of Hotslogs, and when we would get internal data from them, that's the very first damn thing I would do, is I would go look and be like, oh, okay, so this hero's win rate internally is apparently this. Let's see if that matches up. And 9 times out of 10, it was pretty freaking close. Mm-hmm. Even considering that the same way over there, there's no API for Heroes of the Storm. There is, but not for anything useful.
Not for what you might want it for.
There's not for win rates and talent picks and all of that kind of stuff. So it's the same as something like an HS Replay, just with way fewer games being logged. HS Replay's data, like I look at that and I just go, oh my god, this is
there's so many games.
How much stuff they pull down. But it's the same thing. It's people who decide to install the uploader and upload games. So there's still that consideration. But the few times we actually we're privy to internal Heroes of the Storm win rates, it was pretty freaking close. So I think in general, it's like still helpful information. But I'd love to see a 1-to-1. I need to adjust that, by the way, because the Heroes of the Storm team doesn't talk to us anymore.
I don't
by
think
us, I mean the community at large.
Storm team.
Yeah.
You're assuming there's still bodies on the other side of that wall.
Well, it's all the classics team, and unfortunately, they didn't just delete Warcraft Reforged and have instead tried to continue to support a broken game. But yeah, anyways, not
that's a
salty about it
conversation
at
for
all.
another show.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe put your effort into games that are good and well made. So yeah. Anyways, go to XR's Twitter, see these awesome pie charts. They really are. I know pie charts sounds boring. This is really cool stuff. More of this, please, Dane. Thank you for putting this out there. And before we get into this week's news, we're going to talk about the standard patch that's going to hit tomorrow at the time of recording this. I want to thank those of you supporting us over at patreon.com/TAC. If you haven't checked it out before, we've got some perks for you. You can get an ad-free version of the show. You get your own RSS feed that you can plug into whatever podcatcher you use, and you just get the show like normal, but it doesn't have ads. All for you. A custom feed just for you. Just for you. You also get access to the Discord, our patron-only Discord, which is a lovely place full of lovely people. None that ever tell me I misspoke on a show and said something wrong. You too can get access to that. And
I was like, that seems like a very specific situation.
what are you talking about? No, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Also, if you're in our Discord, then I'll talk to you during the show like I am with Rakamar right now. Hi, Rakamar.
yes. Hello, everybody. So check it out. Patreon.com/TAC. Not only will you get some perks, but you'll be supporting Jocelyn and Ridiculous Hat and myself. And to our most recent patrons, thank you to Metter, Mad K17, Gary Power, which sounds like a superhero, Eolin, and also a special shout out to two patrons that upped their pledges, Enraged Chicken, who wins the name game this week. Sorry, everyone. And Tyler, thank you very much for upping your pledges. We really appreciate it. You don't have to. Not everyone even knows that that's an option, but you did it. So thank you. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Now,
That's Tyler. They put their name in as Tile R, and I was like, that's an interesting name. No, that's just
pretty sure I brought that over incorrectly. I'm pretty sure that's me. I'm now that you've brought it up, I'm logging into the Patreon. I'm going into notifications because it's the only place where I can see that it is Tyler R. They wrote it Tyler R somewhere. My dumbness got rid of that extra R. So Tyler,
well,
thank you.
It was a clever way to get around having to put a last name by just doing first name Kyle
I thought he just
and
broke
last name
his
R.
Yeah, his first name into two. But
Rexham in the
I
chat
thought that
room.
Tyler and Garrett were both clever, and I guess it turns out Tyler unconfirmed, Garrett definitely not.
Pretty much.
Rip Garrett.
Pretty much. Rip Garrett is, please put that on my headstone. Literally.
That's,
No other info.
it would be appropriate.
If someone saw it, if I saw a headstone that just said Rip and then name in that order, not name and Rip, I would go, is this recipe that person's name, or is the person who is lying here saying Rip this other person? That sounds great. By the way, Rex Shamu says in chat room, if Garrett is wrong, I don't want to be right. You should want to be right, because I'm definitely wrong often. Yeah. Oh, there's someone saying, but there's Rip Torn. Oh, I miss him. I miss Rip Torn.
Why don't we head to the news?
Yeah, let's do it. Men in Black was on over the weekend, and I got sad, so thanks for that.
Good news,
That's a great
everyone.
movie.
Boy, this episode, I did not mean to be off the rails, and we weren't making wiener jokes in the pre-show, so
I made
here we
one.
are anyway. That's right, you did.
Yeah,
That's right, you did. I also made one as well that the audio listeners will not be privy to, but hey,
nah.
youtube.com/AIMMove2.
Sometimes those just pop up out of nowhere. Like,
Yeah. You gotta watch out. Things can arise without warning.
Wow.
Like standard balance changes. Those just can come up out of
I
nowhere.
think we had some warning.
we had some warning.
Oh yeah, whatever.
You made a good effort at the segue. It wasn't quite as
Data is gonna get
it's fine.
mined. It's gonna happen.
Well, and the leaks here, I think, were not. Okay. Couple things. First of all, Garrett said at the beginning of the show that we didn't have the chance. I think that's incorrect. We chose not to comment on leaked changes because leaks suck and we don't like them. But also, there were a whole bunch of leaks in this particular time. There was this weird Russian forum that had an unfinished build that had screenshots of the changes. That was the first place I saw them. The data mining came later, like slightly later, I think the same day. Still the day before the patch notes, but it wasn't quite confirmed, but it was pretty close to confirmed. Leaks suck, and we understand that news sites might sometimes feel the pressure to report more quickly and get that out there, but you just don't have to, and it'll be okay. Let's just wait. It's okay. I'm off my soapbox. You can go.
Listen, do what you want to do, but also support the people that are putting the effort in to be a part of the announcements. Because as someone who had to fight tooth and nail to actually get to announce things, it is a lot of work when you actually break through and are lucky enough to get to announce shit. So it's real cool. And so if you like the people that were getting to announce stuff, or maybe you didn't, maybe check them out anyway. You might end up finding a content creator that you find yourself surprisingly enjoying. So, yeah, we have a lot of feelings here. This is a lot of inside baseball. We're a little too close to this. It sucks when we feel bad for our friends. Shall we talk about standard balance changes?
Yes.
Cool.
No more rogue.
I wish Shadowcrafter Scabs, instead of saying old cost 7, new cost 8, it just said deleted. We realized the error of our ways, and we're removing this horrible card from existence. But it's just going to cost 1 more mana.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the way you phrase that, Garrett, is the implication that a 1 mana change is not significant.
No. The way I phrase that is that I am so butthurt that I want this card removed from existence, and anything less is not enough.
Well, I think that you will find that the changes to Rogue here are significant. The class will still be good. This card will still be good. But there are 3 Rogue cards all getting nudged by a mana. That means the decks that with all 3 of those cards are getting 5 total mana added to the stuff that they're trying to do. Really, really substantial, really significant. And my humble opinion is that Scabs, while being extremely powerful, is also a symptom of other issues in Rogue, and that the power that we're seeing with Scabs is because of the oppressive effect Wild Paw Nola has on early games right now. You can't really play minions early without them getting killed by 0 mana 4/5 rush, which it turns out is too good. So they're fixing that. And so that's why tradable is so much more visible right now, especially in the early game. It feels like tradable is overpowered, but just no. People cut all the 1-drops and 2-drops from their deck because they just die, so you just tradable early game anyways and just set up something big in the mid game. And you know what's good against setting up stuff that's big in the mid game? Unconditional board resets, combined with Rogue getting an overgrowth and a couple 4/2s that have stealth, which are they feel like throw-ins, right? It's if
It would still be
Scabs,
fine even if they weren't there.
if Scabs, the hero card, is Blizzard Esports, then the 4/2s are Hearthstone. They're just there as a bonus. So this is significant, but the other cards that are being changed were the ones that prevented you from hitting the Rogue in the Rogue before Scabs came down. Those are the more significant nerfs. This is a good change, but it's a symptom of the other 2 Rogue cards preventing people from attacking the Rogue. So I think that the other 2 changes are going to be a lot more important, and this change is just nice to make sure.
Well, let's talk about those 2 other changes. I'll just mention them both in rapid succession. Wild Paw Knoll used to cost 5 for a 4/5. It's now going to cost 6 for a 3/5. So not just the mana getting nudged there, but also the attack in the downward direction. And Cloak of Shadows is going up 1 mana from 3 to 4. So Wild Paw Knoll, Cloak of Shadows changes. I would say discuss, but I feel like, Hat, you probably have more front-loaded opinions at the ready.
I wish Cloak of Shadows only gave you stealth until the end of your current turn, because I think the card is toxic as hell. And then I want you to play it, and then nothing happens, then you lose. But
I was about to say, to clarify,
that doesn't do anything.
I was like, hold on a
that's what I
second.
wanted.
I have never known Hat to misspeak in terms of mechanics. So that was entirely intentional. You want this card to be 4 mana, do nothing.
Well, you get stealth for a second.
What? Are you
It's not
advocating?
useful, but it does do something.
Are you advocating for cards that are just purely style?
Yes.
I mean, I want it to be
You
really
also call
bad.
them Flare.
Jocelyn, would you
Yeah.
play a card that was 4 mana and just made glitter graphics appear on screen but didn't actually affect anything?
Effing lootly.
Wait, Garrett, would you not?
You're
You're on the record.
If you add it in Battlegrounds, I would, because sometimes you're going to die. So, I might just like buy a glitter card and play it to the jerk that got too many, avenge cards.
But okay, so rogue cards, Jocelyn, I'm going to throw to you at the end of the sentence. Prepare yourself emotionally.
Oh God.
My experience over the past week in this standard meta, and really like the past couple weeks, I have wound down the amount of standard ladder that I play. And by the way, just to be clear, as I'm sure everyone's realized, when I say I'm winding down and taking a bit of a break, that means I'm doing max 10 games a day of standard. So I recognize that's not the same of normal people. But I have dipped a lot more into like duels and wild and whatever, and played some other games too.
Listen,
but
everybody's
the
playtime is relative to everybody.
Yeah.
yes. But the combination of pervasive wild paw nulls preventing early game board development and Cloak of Shadows, meaning that like I can attack Poison Rogue on turns 3 and 4. That's it. Has really dampened my enthusiasm for playing standard, because it felt like there were two different rogues in the rogue lottery. No matter which one I hit, I felt like I lost. And it was really hard to do anything without worrying about getting double nulled or getting cloak scabs or whatever. And so I'm like, I'm going to wait until this is different. And Jocelyn, I think you had a similar experience. And I wanted to talk to you about your feelings around why that was and how these cards played into it so we can get an idea.
Yeah, so I was really enjoying that kind of like mix of like the aggro, mostly aggro druid cards, but then had like Ibis and Guff and some of those like late game give me some options kind of cards. And I those kind of optional cards would sometimes give me wins against Rogue that I probably had no business getting. But they felt like flukes almost. My number of games against Rogue was really high. I played like so much on New Year's Day. I got like a ton of games out of the way, flew all the way up day 1 of the season to Diamond 5, which I've never done before because usually I just don't have that kind of time. But I was really enjoying this deck. And then it just like, it was right when Poison Rogue was kind of on just the rise, I guess. And so I was seeing a lot of the Maester Rogue and starting to see Poison Rogue, and most of my games were against Rogue. And I was just like, man, all I want to do is play this deck that I'm having fun playing, except it's not really fun when I lose all of the time. And if I queue into anyone who's not Rogue, I'm going to win. But because like 70% of my games were against rogues, I was just like, and it was so bad to the point that like people were emoting me because my druid, I'm like 10 games away from my golden hero power. So when I would get into games, people would emote me like, wow, because I wasn't actually like, I was a druid, I wasn't a rogue.
What? Tell me you got any confirmation of that, or is this entirely headcanon that they're like, oh, I'm consistently getting wow. It must be because I'm not a rogue.
That's literally like, I'm assuming that that's what it is. Like, I never accept any friend requests because that's just insanity. But I'm just like, yeah, within the first, like, like as soon as I played a druid card, I'd get like a whoa or like a well played or a whatever. And I was just like, damn, there's just so many rogues here. And yeah, I think for me specifically, because I was playing a deck that was very board centric and also very buff centric, that the combination of Knoll and Scabs was just so unfun, because it's like I finally got to do the thing that I wanted to do and they were like, nope. So yeah, I don't know. It just, those two cards specifically, like Cloak of Shadows, like I say, I stopped playing standard and moved over to Battlegrounds, which also like the Battlegrounds meta, the whole Avenge meta thing is not the most fun that Battlegrounds has ever been, but it was better than standard. So that's where I've spent my time the last 3 weeks.
I'm so hyped for it, and I haven't been playing really a lot of either mode. I'm a little burnt out on both, but yeah, I've been back in Battlegrounds as well, which made me realize I had like never gotten Cookie the Cook, and I got Cookie, and I sucked so hard. I screwed up so bad. I have since redeemed myself with Cookie. I got a second place with him the other day, which not a first, but you know. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah.
A little
That's
Battlegrounds digression there.
Yeah, and it's just that like the battlegrounds meta isn't even all that fun. It's just that the standard meta is so unfun that I'm just like, man, I just can't
it's
bring myself to push that button because I know that my play style, because the way that I like to play Hearthstone has always been very board centric, very minion centric. Like I really like putting stuff on the board and hitting other stuff with it. That's just what I enjoy in Hearthstone. And it feels like I don't get to do that while these cards are still prevalent.
you
So
like
I'm
feeling like you're
happy with
playing a
these
game.
changes.
There's nothing
Yeah,
wrong with that.
exactly. Imagine that.
It's interesting. The only other thing I want to like mention is that this does seem like it's a change with the higher leagues and Legend in mind, because like it wasn't that many episodes ago that we were talking about how you're not going to see as many rogues. You're going to see a lot more Pirate Warrior or less
Yeah,
optimized versions of
rogue
Rogue.
numbers definitely ramped up
Yeah,
as you
Yeah.
head into Legend.
It trickled down as well further, in part due to like there was a lot of positive coverage here, but also eventually doesn't matter what rank you are, you figured out 0 mana 4/5 rush is a good card. And that's not too hard to figure out. And so after a couple weeks, it's still like all the way down through Diamond and Plat. I'm pretty sure that Thief Rogue is still the most popular deck there, and Poison has started to pick up as well. It just needed to build refinement, a little bit of time. So, there are 3 different stages of the Rogue meta. There's the Lemon Wedge, which is where you have like a quarter of your games against Rogue. There's the Lemon Slice, where it goes up to half, and then there's what I was experiencing. It sounds like Josh experiencing, where I had a 7-day stretch where 70% of my games were against Rogue. That's the Lemon Meringue meta. The whole thing is the lemon.
I was gonna go with the watermelon half you can buy at the grocery store.
Kinda, but more lemony.
I guess you could also
'Cause,
just
it's
buy a whole
yellow,
lemon
darker.
at the grocery store.
You could.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could. Don't think you can buy a half lemon. Anyways, I don't know.
Well, if you can, you shouldn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
So the Wild Paw Knoll change is the most important. And it's a double bump. The cost is important because it makes it way, way harder to play Knoll if you are not a burgling cards already. The Poison Maestra Rogue was really unpleasant because it had 0 ways to discount Knoll after you take the mask off, and they still cost 2 or 1 or 0. That was also aided by a couple of bugs, which we have confirmation that are getting fixed as well, where the cards in your opening hand, they're marked as not the class they're marked as non-rogue cards. So if you take the mask off and then passage them away and take them back, they discount your Knoll again. So that's been fixed as
Oh,
of tomorrow.
interesting.
Yep. But it's a bug, and it makes Knolls cost 0 later in the game, even if you have no other ways to do it. So, combined with that bug fix and this cost increase, it's pretty unlikely you'll see Knoll in decks that don't have other Burgle cards, which I think is great. 3 attack versus 4 at least makes it harder for them to completely wipe the other decks off the board in the early game, which is really, really important because it was really hard to play minions, to play 1s and 2s right now when Knoll will just pop out of nowhere and just kill all your stuff. And the cloak nerf, well, these nerfs are basically hard targeting poison maester rogue, but cloak nerf will just make poison a lot harder to play because you're moving everything a turn later in a deck that was hyper focused on efficient damage. So cloak scabs was the line of play where 5, 6, and 7 you could cloak scabs, still do a bunch of other stuff, still deal damage, still draw cards, all of that, along with the Knolls, are getting pushed later. It will be much harder for this deck to even come close to beating Face Hunter, which it was already like pretty Face Hunter favored, but now it'll be really Face Hunter favored. There are a lot of other ways to hit the Poison Rogue against Thief Rogue. Actually, the Beast Druid deck, Josh, there are variants of the deck that you're playing that can actually do okay against Rogue because you just kind of give up on the early game and then you go for these Oracle Frostwolf Matriarch turns. And if they
Mhm.
scab your Oracle and your Matriarchs, fine,
That's
I'll
kind
just
of okay
replay
because there's
Oracle.
still 0,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and so then you just double them up, and that's fine, but the poison rogue part is they send all your stuff back to the hand, and then they kill you. That part's not fun. I don't like getting killed. So, cloak is what makes that happen because you can't attack them for a couple turns. This allows you to play the arbor and connect usually before they're able to get a cloak off, and that makes the calculus very different as to how much time they have and how much breathing room they have, and that's really what they wanna do here. I have faith that this will dramatically rebalance how much poison rogue we see. It will make Thief Rogue a lot worse. It'll make Scab slower. I think these are good changes that will be effective. Rogue's not going to die. Null Poison Rogue should die, Poison Rogue in general should be a lot less powerful. And part of the reason why Poison Rogue was also so good is that it beat Mozaki Mage, and I don't know if we're going to see a lot of that either.
More on Mage in a second.
Yes.
But first, Pirate Warrior.
Pirate Warrior.
I can't believe they're coming
How do you
after.
feel about that, Garrett?
Listen, I will let you know in 2 months when I probably get bored enough with Battlegrounds to come back to Standard. I'm really excited about tomorrow's Battlegrounds update. But
you don't say.
yeah, no, you ruined my joke where I was going to be like, I can't believe they're targeting a deck that nobody's talking about.
Nah.
Yeah. Raid the Docks is getting changed up. Create a Distraction, which is the second part of the Warrior quest line. It used to be you had to play 2 pirates to deal 2 damage to a random enemy twice. Now it's play 3 pirates. So we spent a lot of Rogue talking about increasing mana by 1. We're now increasing pirates by 1. You have to play 1 entire more pirate to
This
get through
feels
this
a
stage of the quest
little
line.
bit. Yeah, this feels a little bit more fair, honestly, I think, as someone who's played against a lot of Pirate Warriors. Um, especially in December. There seem to be a lot of them in December. But
People
yeah,
want to have fun around the holidays. So
I guess so. But yeah, it was very much like it always felt like you were looking at maybe like turn 5, maybe, and they were getting a pirate online that was probably going to be pretty impactful, maybe even going to deal 2 damage to you or deal damage when your hero attacked, plus also the quest would complete and that would deal 2 damage twice. And it just felt like at that point in the game, no matter what deck you were playing, it was really hard to leave something on, or to have something on the board because the quest was getting done so early, that it was it was clearing off whatever you had and you kind of had to start over. So I think one more pirate probably pushes us back a turn, and I think that's healthier for the deck and the game.
listen, I have some really strong opinions about this, and I don't know if you're ready to hear this, Jocelyn, but I agree with you.
What? Wait, what? No.
Huh?
That's not allowed.
Am I in the wrong podcast?
Right?
Where's the angry chicken? We're- this is the agreeable chicken. How do I get back home?
Listen, haven't been playing Standard recently. I'm sure this is not true if I saw as many rogues as everyone else has been freaking seeing. But at least before the rest of us plebeians learned how to play rogue, I wasn't seeing them, and the amount of games that I would win without even finishing my quest line, where the quest line was really kind of just ancillary to me, just beating you into submission with enough pirates and weapon shenanigans.
Yeah, Rikara didn't come into play nearly as often as you would think that she would because the quest completions were just so good.
Yeah. It was like, it was basically guaranteed to happen against Mage because Mage games just always went long. And there were some other matchups as well where that was the case. And also, like, if you got the perfect curve, if like you got the pirates you wanted that like drew other pirates and you actually got like that obnoxious make you want to die pirate warrior curve, yeah, okay, you're getting it done. But it was so possible to still just win without the quest line that I didn't think the quest line needed to be as easy to complete as it was, and now it's not going to be. It's going to be 1 pirate more difficult, which again doesn't sound like a whole lot, but all of the conversation that we just had, mostly had, about the importance of the impact of delaying things by a mana, we're delaying a quest line here by an entire card, essentially. The mana
right, yeah,
cost
so it
is
probably
relative.
probably pushes that completion back for everything, right? Because there were also times where that Rikara, whether you actually got any value out of the Juggernaut effect or not, just having that 7/7 on board on turn 5 or 6, it was kind of like, man, what do I even do against this thing? Like, you've been so successful getting your pirates down and completing your quest line that I have no board and not a lot of health to work with anyway. Now you're dropping a 7/7. Okay, I'm done.
And that's when it would really
Yeah.
sting, is when it would come down that early.
Yeah.
And when they first nerfed the Shaman questline before they printed Multicaster, we noticed kind of a different knock-on effect here of sometimes you run out of stuff to progress the quest. That's what
Mhm.
slows it down. You're out of pirates.
Yeah.
So standard, there's just not a lot of draw. And wild Wild Pirate Warrior still gonna be just fine. They have this card called Ankar. It's pretty good. Um, but in standard, you would just run out of pirates a lot because you're really light on draw, and this is going to make it actively slower. And you have to fill your deck with like 27 to 28 pirates. You maybe can fit in room for a couple shivers, but otherwise, if your deck isn't just pirates, you're going to draw something that's not a pirate and be sad. So
That was my couple shivers.
yeah. You get 2 shivers, you have to play a Whetstone Hatchet, and then the rest should all be in the quest, and then the other 26 cards should just be pirates. So you're you're pretty narrowly restricted in what you can play, and this still slows you down even if you have the good draw. Sometimes you whiff and you just don't have the cards. And it's a nice change. It's just for increasing diversity. It's called out pretty specifically in the patch notes that even though this deck isn't a power outlier at the very, very highest ranks, it's really overperforming at a lot of other MMRs. So it just is to promote deck diversity at Bronze through Diamond in particular.
Mhm.
Which I think is good. They're addressing both ends of the
Yeah.
spectrum in terms of performance at different skill levels. Rogue was definitely leaning towards the higher end of things, and Pirate Warrior is definitely leaning more towards the average side of things. So
I mean, whatever you want to name it, I'm glad they are making the game more fun for as many players as they can. I think that's a good idea.
Mhm.
well, let's see what the meta looks like afterwards before we throw around the F word.
I mean, the meta's going to look like Battlegrounds buddies, so.
At least for some people.
For some people, I have a feeling there'll be a lot of hat standard opinions next week.
I mean, I don't have to play standard to have those. I envision that I will be much more tired than usual next week because I will have an extra mode to keep up with.
Mm. Well, Mage has some mana cost to keep up with because Incanter's Flow is also getting dinged with the 1 mana increase. It's going from 3 to 4.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of a card that more perfectly exemplifies the sense of I hate it when it's played against me and I freaking love it when I get to play it myself. I think it's Incanter's Flow.
Yeah. So, fun trivia question. When did Encounter Slow come out? You remember what set this is in?
Ashes.
I was gonna say it was
Ash-
either Ashes or Skolo, wasn't it?
Ashes. So, we had a year where 2 mana Encounter Slow, not good enough, really fun. Then we had
That was
Barons.
Demon Hunter though. Demon Hunter was there.
It's there was a lot going on during Year of the Phoenix. A lot of stuff going on. Great. But like we had Cyclone Mage.
There were a lot of
in
green
Skullomance.
tattoos going on.
Yeah, we had Cyclone Mage and Skullomance. It was a really really powerful mage deck. They nerfed 2 cards in it. Did not play flow. Much more minion dense. Lot going on there. Powerful, but didn't play flow. Flow and Spell Mage were meme tier until Barons. Barons came out. Flow busted. Really, really powerful. They printed Refreshing Spring Water, meta changed, all that. It was able to play around Watch Post really well. 2 mana deck of Lunacy, but then they nerfed Lunacy, deck still saw play. Nerfed Spring Water to 5, still saw play. And even though it wasn't winning very much, then Stormwind came out, Quest Mage came out. Boy, that was good. And Canter Slow to 3, deck still saw play. Had to go the entire expansion till they nerfed Spell Mage to +2 spell damage instead of +3 spell damage, so Quest Mage finally died. Then we get a new one. And instead of just doing this whole quest, at least letting you know what's coming, it would just go flow, draw, biscuit, draw, freeze, biscuit, draw. Okay, you're dead now. Let's flow. What are you doing? How we're gonna do with this all year? Mage with flow was the most popular deck overall in Barons. Most popular class and deck overall in Stormwind. All told, there was other things going on, but it was specifically flow-based kill you with burn mages for like 9 months of this year. Get it out of the game. Get it out. Let's do something else. Mage got some ping mage stuff now. It's fine. It's not tier 1 super competitive, but it's good enough to win games. Let's do something else. Get this out of here. What you doing?
I like the ping mage. I think it's
I
really
like
fun,
ping
but
mage too.
it's really hard to play decks that. And actually, we have an email about this later on in the show. It's really hard to play decks that are not the best that your class of choice has to offer, because you're just like, well, I'm doing this, and you can't help yourself from having those thoughts where you're like, if I'd been playing the tier 1 mage deck instead of the tier 2 mage deck, I might have won that game, and winning feels good. Maybe I should be playing Mozaki mage instead of king mage. And yeah, so this is a good change, I think. But yeah, I'm sick and tired of stuff that gets discounted to 0, really. As saying that as someone who plays a druid deck with stuff that gets discounted to 0, I think all discounts of the game should just go down to 1. So you still have to pay for it. Yes.
No,
Yes.
no.
Yes.
Hearthstone is fun when you get to play multiple cards at once. It's just like when they're busted, when they're too good, make them worse. When it's unconditional discounting my entire hand and deck. In Canterslow, when you play it on turn 2, it's
All
you know,
I'm
you point it out.
hearing is that it's okay when rogues do it, but it's not okay when other classes
I am
do it.
happy about the rogue
I
nerfs.
want to
I am
shut
saying
down
please nerf
this
rogue.
blatant rogue agenda on my podcast.
I'm saying let's nerf rogue. I was happy about the rogue nerfs. You know, overgrowth, 4 mana gain 2 mana. In Canterslow, when you coin it out on 2, it's 3 mana gain 25 mana. I'm gonna say it. That's too much. That's too much, man.
Too many manas. Yeah, I did like, and so yeah, I think that okay, maybe I should rephrase what I meant by the 0 thing. Like, you shouldn't be able
go after
to
him. Cut his throat. End him now, Jocelyn.
No, I just like external mana reduction forces shouldn't be able to apply to cards that are balanced around having a mana cost. You shouldn't be able to just get something for free that's not meant to be discounted. Is that clearer?
Counter argument. The cards. Garrett, we're gonna be here for a minute. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. Cards that give you global mana reductions, make them a little worse. Make them less good. Make it a real cost to set it up and think about it, get it in play, and make it happen. Make the
So
deck
like
that has
not
to do
just
that.
play it.
Well, I mean, you can play it, but like, look at Rune Mithril Rod at 5 mana. That ain't breaking any hearts. Like, it's that card can cost 5 mana. It's okay. You just got to make it that the mana that you gain, you have to spend something close to that amount of mana up front as a cost, so that there's a window of vulnerability, and it can't just go discount, play, kill you. That needs to take a minute to set up. But you look at a deck like Boulder
So
OTK, you gotta
Encanter's
get till
flow
turn
to
10.
20 then?
I'm not gonna argue. I'm not gonna say no.
I mean, Guff could still play it if he stole it somehow.
Let Guff do what he wants. He's a good boy.
Oh boy.
Garrett, what were you saying?
I was gonna say that despite how much I loved clearly exposing the rogue agenda that is on this podcast, I do like wildly wide mana discounting when it's not in rogue. I'm the opposite. I'm the anti-rogue agenda. I think when rogue does it, it's cheating because they usually kill you in the same turn. But things like Thorson, things like Ruined Mithril Rod, things like Incanter's Flow have been some of my favorite designs. It is fun. It feels powerful. It feels like I'm getting away with something and not in the terrible way that classes like Rogue and Priest get away with things. In the fun and balanced way, like classes that play Thorson, Warlock, and Mage get away with things. It is really just, it's got to be, my brain goes to, it has to be a balancing nightmare. It has to be an absolute balancing nightmare. I do want these cards to be printed, and clearly there are developers that make this game that every once in a while go, boy, it'd be really fun to have hand deck wide mana reduction. Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be fun? But it must be a bit of a nightmare to keep in the back of your mind for the entire amount of time that this is going to be in the game. And if it's in wild, I don't know, just embrace the madness that is the entire mode of people that are playing. And I can only imagine they are all the Joker because they just embrace chaos. But yeah, it's
awesome. And
it's just so, I don't know. I mean, clearly there's only so much foresight. Like you said it yourself, had Encounter Slow at 2 wasn't good enough. Again, it was like also in the shadow of the most broken thing that has happened in recent memory for me, which is the launch of Demon Hunter. But so things were weighted weirdly. But here we are again with Incannon Flow going up again in cost, and it is such a wide-reaching effect that it's going to be hard to know where things go. And hell, it's a game where we do make balance changes, so I don't know. I don't really have a wide sweeping thought on is mana discounting of this kind good or bad inherently. I think it's just the kind of thing that I'm glad that I'm playing a game that has effects like this, and it's the type of game where they do nerf cards.
Like Sorcerer's Apprentice, which they took
Hey,
out
Josh,
back
are you
and
mad
shot.
about card costs being discounted? Because let me tell you about this hot new card that hasn't been around very long called Sorcerer's Apprentice that is having its mana cost doubled from 2 to 4.
And it's still a 3/2, and its effect is still the same. It just, bam, double the cost.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I think this is a
no
wild
one-
thing, right?
Yeah, no one in Wild is throwing out the Tempo Apprentice on 2. That's not what's happening here. It got nerfed to 4 because Drekthar summons it if it costs 3, so it wouldn't matter. So it has to go to 4. But like they need to keep the effect the same because in Wild you have to accept that sometimes your opponent's going to do the thing. And when they do the thing, you're gonna die. That's what's gonna happen. And so if you make the text not less than 1, you can't do the thing anymore, and you're going into the format where you're supposed to be able to play your favorite cards forever, and it doesn't work anymore. And that's kind of a bummer, especially for a card that's been around since 2013.
I mean,
So,
listen,
like-
if you wanted to mob style, take it out back and just destroy it like we did with Warsong Commander, then
I was
so
gonna
be
say
it.
they're just both hanging out behind the shed. Warsong Commander and Sorcerer's Apprentice. They're best bros now.
And Lucia.
Right.
Oh, well, that's yep. Thank you, Hat.
Yep.
Forgot about Lucia.
Remember when that was the most complained about card this side of Ticketus for like months, and then now it's just like, oh yeah, I remember her.
That was a thing that used to happen sometimes. Why did we let priests do anything?
Yeah.
It's Wild. I don't claim to be a subject matter expert on Wild. I don't think any of us really are. Mage in particular was kind of a hot button topic right now, in part because it had a bunch of decks that would kill you by chaining the same Ignite over and over by playing like 30 spells with Flame Wakers in play, whatever. But also there's a pretty prominent animation hacking concern going on right now in Wild. It happens way less often than people think it does. It's really just at really high legend. But it happens more than none, so that's problematic. And all those decks
Also, are you saying the
built around-
competitive players are vocal?
I didn't, but I am now. Yes, you are correct. That is true. And also, like, cheating sucks. And there was a known admitted animation cheater that made an account and tweeted about it because he wanted Blizzard to do something about it that got rank 1 legend in all 3 servers. So, like, I would be upset about that too if I was competing. If a cheater said, "Hey, I'm cheating and I'm rank 1 legend in 3 servers," and they still had an account,
And no one was doing anything. Yeah.
I think that is justifiable to be upset. I think I would be upset there too. But there was no deck that was held back by animations where animation acceleration helped them more than any of the mage decks. So this nerf isn't because of that, but it does mean those concerns will stop happening. And that means it's probably a nice positive externality, right? Like it's a nice bonus that gets thrown in there that not only did they get to nerf these mage decks that kill people from really, really high life totals, they also get to remove the frequency with which players believe they've been cheated, even though most of the time they have.
Thank you for the wild report.
Yeah. When they nerfed Rapid Fire from 1 mana deal 1 damage twin spell to 2 mana deal 2 damage twin spell, it is now much worse in Odd Hunter. Significantly worse in Odd Hunter.
I can't find it. What do you mean I don't have 30 cards in this deck to go play?
Yeah, or what do you mean my Baku didn't trigger? Yeah,
Yeah.
those are your choices now. So it just comes out of the deck, slows it way down, might still exist, but like this was the reason this card made the deck work to the speed and wild that it needed. I didn't enjoy losing to it, and the deck was really, really good. So we'll see what happens.
Yep. Speaking of, we'll see what happens. We haven't talked about any buffs, and that's because there's only one, and they put it at the end of the patch notes, and that's Rokara the Valorous. Among my favorite hair in Hearthstone right now. That's all I've got to say because I'd never played this card on purpose. Rokara the Valorous is going from 5 armor to 10. Boy, don't spend it all in one place, everybody.
Okay, all right. So this is relevant, or at least it will be. I know it seems like a small buff. I know it does. Do you remember the card Shield Shatter?
No.
No.
So it was in Alterac, the 10 mana card that deals 5 damage to all minions that gets cheaper for each point of armor you have.
I'm gonna look this up.
I promise I didn't make this up. It's not on Hearth cards. It's not a custom card. It's a real card in Alterac.
Shield Shatter, 10 mana, deal 5 damage to all minions, costs 1 less for each armor you have. Frost Spell.
So now you play Rokara and Shield Shatter the same turn. It's pretty good. Right? There's some armor synergy here, specific payoffs. We are clearly missing some part of Warrior that they know is coming and that we are hoping is coming. Namely the part where it wins without playing Quest on 1. And theoretically it has some armor synergy, like with Galvangar, which this enables almost immediately by herself. The 9/9 chargy armor dude guy, you know him.
Oh yeah, that guy.
So yeah.
Does he have a pirate tag? Then no, I don't know that guy.
Yes. Okay, he's a 6 mana 6/6. If you gain 15 armor this game, he gets +3/+3 in charge. He's a 6 mana
Right.
9/9 charge if you gain enough armor.
So are you wait, hold on. You are telling me you are going to spend this all in one place?
Well, I already
place
have
the
this
Shield
card.
Shatter.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not spending anything because it's free. That's the point.
That's fair. That's very fair.
So, Control Warrior needs draw. It did not get any card draw. But this change makes this card more appealing in a shell where I can kind of now see where they're headed of Armor Matters Control Warrior. There's a future for that, probably in the next 4-set meta, probably not in the rest of this meta, but there's something here.
Draw does seem important if the entire upside of this hero card is that I need another card to make it decent.
Yeah. And also, let classes draw cards, and they let most classes draw cards, and the two that are worst at it, Priest and Warrior, are also at the bottom of the win rate chart. Surprise! So, draw good. Need to give some draw to these two classes, but when they do, I think there's something here with Rokara.
Oh, we're going back to Control Warrior, aren't we? I'm going back to not playing Warrior. That's what I'm gonna do.
I mean, the quest doesn't rotate. You'll still have time.
Yeah, I will. I'll have time to not complete my quest.
I promise the Control Warrior is not going to pressure you. You'll have time to play Pirates. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Jury's out. I've been playing lots of Pirate buddies.
Look at that segue. Look at this
profession.
profession.
Look at that. Actually, that's a terrible segue because we have to.
We have an ad.
We have a sponsor to thank this week. So gather up, everybody. It's time for us to get paid. Today's episode is sponsored.
We're being very subtle this week.
Yeah.
Today's episode is sponsored by Honey. Listen, we all shop online. I would imagine. I would be very surprised if someone listening doesn't shop online. You are clearly very internet literate because you are listening to a podcast about an online card game. And if you shop online, you've probably seen that promo code field taunting you like a Control Warrior you're probably not playing because they're bad right now. No one's even going to give me.
Garrett just
I get what you're saying. Am I being
like,
set up?
I'm gonna wait. And if you don't laugh, I will turn this show around.
I will hold this read hostage unless I get a giggle.
Am I being? Garrett, you're right. I'm not playing Control Warrior right now.
Good. Just making sure. But hey, thanks to Honey, you don't need to go manually search for coupon codes. You need to punch it into your search bar of choice and copy that one and paste it in, and then it doesn't work, and then copy that other one and then paste it in, and then that one doesn't work. You don't need to do any of that because you've already installed Honey, a free browser extension that just goes out. It just scours the internet for promo codes, and it applies the best one that it finds to your cart. I wish I had something like this for decks. I mean, I'm friends with Hat. It's basically the same thing, but still, it would be nice if it automatically happened. Like, it sensed me getting annoyed with my win rate in Hearthstone, but that doesn't happen. But luckily, this does happen for saving money while I shop online, and it is Honey, which you can get by going to joinhoney.com/TAC. Joss, how has Honey helped you save money recently?
Actually, Honey helped me without actually using a promo code. So they have this really cool, I guess, like feature within some specific site. Actually puts like a little bar graph up in the corner when you go to a product page, and it tells you if the price is up or down over the last 30 days. So a lot of companies will actually go and like say, oh, hey, we're having a 20% off sale, but then they raise the base price of their goods by 25%. So you're actually paying more. Honey made it so I didn't pay more. I just waited for it to go back down again. And technically it wasn't on sale, but it was like 30% cheaper than it was had I bought it 2 weeks ago. So yeah, I'm redoing our bedroom on a very, very small budget. So I got some curtains and some curtain rods.
That's freaking great. Yeah, it saved me money on more than one occasion over the course of my holiday shopping. So I'm a big fan of it. I've had it installed for years now, and I just don't think about it until I go to buy something. And it's like, hey, you want to try these codes? I'm like, yep. And it's like, hey, this one works. Sometimes multiple ones works, and it selects the one that saves you the most, which is it's very nice. So anyways, go check it out. Honey has found its over 17 million members, over $2 billion in savings. If you don't already have Honey, you could straight up be missing out on free savings. It's literally free and installs in just a few seconds. And by getting it, you'll do yourself a solid and support this podcast. So get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/TAC. That's joinhoney.com/TAC. Don't forget the join. Anyways, we thank them for their support, and we thank everybody listening for supporting the brands that support us here at The Angry Chicken. So go check them out while we go check out Battlegrounds.
Have a good battle, friend.
All right. Well, the patch notes are out, so we know some other tidbits about what's coming to Battlegrounds in tomorrow's update. So exciting. So very, very exciting. So the Battlegrounds Buddies system will be coming in here. As we made mention of last week, the Battlegrounds armor system will also be deactivated alongside the buddy system coming in. This is supposed to be temporary, according to one Celestalon in our chat room just last week. If you listened to episode 450, you already knew this information, and you would know that because you're a wonderful listener that knows you can get the best information and salty opinions from me on The Angry Chicken.
You're not always salty.
No. Today I'm actually quite agreeable. Everyone's making very good points, and
it's because it's Buddy Eve.
It is Buddy Eve. Also, I legitimately like the standard changes. Like, I'm looking at them like, yeah, these needed to happen. These are fair. These are, except Scabs, I'm just like so annoyed by that card's mere existence. But whatever, it's fine. It's fine. Ignore me. Yeah. So coming back to Battlegrounds, yeah.
You said ignore me. I was agreeing.
Oh. Wonderful. Hero selection has also been temporarily extended by 10 seconds to a total of 70 seconds while players learn the new buddy system. I found this like amusing and cool. Like that it's temporary, that they're just like, yeah, you're probably going to need some time to like hover over, do a little extra reading, so we're going to give you some extra time, but we're going to be taking it away, and there will be a quiz at the end of the week.
I'm kind of going to miss the armor system, honestly, because that was like my first clue of what to pick. Is like if it had like 9 armor, I was like, nope.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. It wasn't just me. It's like I don't want the one that needs the most help because I also need the most help. I need the busted hero.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that being said, there's
So I'd look at all my low armor numbers and then hover over them and be like, okay, you're complicated. You're easy. Let's go.
can I
It's your Millhouse. Let's go with that one.
not that we don't
Sorry,
have enough to talk about, but you've made me think of an aside that popped in my house today. Funny enough, this came to my mind today while I was playing Millhouse. Hat, you mentioned Millhouse, so I got my selections.
Everything's coming up Millhouse.
Yeah, I got my options. I hovered over Millhouse, and then I was like, hold on a sec. Let me see. What does HS Replay say? I'm pretty sure I want to play Millhouse, but let me see. Sure enough, someone else. Who was it? The dude that gives you blood gems. I hate that hero. I find him so boring. But
Cool poor dude.
ranked way higher.
Yeah.
Ranked way higher in
Blackthorn.
average placement. And I'm like, I'm not sure that's right. However, the lobby did not have elementals. And I'm like, okay, elementals really do help Millhouse out a shit ton because of the way that it cheats the economy.
It's a very important element.
Still ended up, yeah, well done. I see what you did there. Still ended up going Millhouse, got first place. I found Caligos at the correct time and had my first dragon win in quite a while. Usually I get Caligos 1 or 2 turns late and I just die in a horrible fire of death. But
That's
whatever.
the worst kind of fire.
Anyway, my brain went to, and I don't know why it took me this long to have this thought, is armor should change depending on what's in the lobby, because certain heroes are way better depending on what tribes are in and what tribes are out. But it doesn't matter because armor's going out for a while we figure out which buddies are busted. Busted buddies?
Yeah. Also, you won anyway. So, no, I think it's fine.
Yes. But if I had found Caligos 1 turn later, I would have probably gotten 6th place. I was flirting with disaster.
I agree that if you lost, you probably wouldn't have won.
That's an accurate statement.
Thank you for this is why you pay me. That's what
Sure.
the value that I add.
Yeah, man. Listen, I listened to you extol the virtues of moving cards up 1 mana again without turning it into a joke.
Yeah.
But I see how it is. Anyways.
That's okay. I'm glad you found the Caligos.
Back to,
Maybe you'll find one when you play Alex Strauss the next time.
Yes.
there will be no next time. I only play good heroes.
But they're buffing her.
Don't care. Anyways, we'll get to her in a second because we also haven't talked about the cost to upgrade the Tavern Tier 5 has been increased by 2 gold, which means it now starts at 11 gold. What?
They're just messing with those curves.
I like my curves. I'm happy with my curves the way they are.
I don't talk about those anymore because Garrett made fun of me. So
this to me is like the craziest change in here.
Yeah, I basically just decided because I had been watching some streamers, some Battlegrounds tournaments, that kind of stuff, and they kept talking about all these different curves with all these different names, and I'm like, I don't know or understand any of this. So a couple weeks ago, I posted in our Patreon Discord a spreadsheet full of all of the names, of all of the curves, what you do on what turn, which heroes are best with which curves, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to actually learn this now. And now they're changing it.
that's how they get you.
Like, as soon as I decide to invest, they're like, bah, ha, ha, ha. Insert mustache twirl.
Hey, it is just preparing you for adult life. And whenever you invest, that's when inflation hits. You're just like, wait, I could afford this. And like, no, not anymore. Sorry.
This got too
I think
real.
It's a good change.
Now I have sad.
I haven't been monitoring the car market at all. I don't know what you're talking about, Hat.
Yeah, I don't believe you. So I'm thinking about power leveling. Seemed like it was something that was going to potentially be a real problem with giving you a free unit every single game. With the buddy system,
the damage cap as well, I think has really contributed to people being able to make that a bit of a more viable greedy strategy, is because like if you can hit that tavern up button and be punished 15 at most, then that's a real decision you can make. And I think there were a lot of heroes that were good at playing that greedy kind of play style. So when they brought that in, I think it really, really made a difference. So I think that this is a response to that, and I think it's probably correct.
Yeah, as well as removing the armor system temporarily. I know it's in part of it's because too many competing systems is tough, and they're gonna have win rate fluctuation all over the place. And the armor system
Mhm.
is designed to help low win rate heroes. They have no idea who's gonna be low win rate up front, but also less armor and slower leveling means that power leveling they're really trying to disincentivize. Just slam the button, get your buddy, and sell it to get further down the path. This is a lot of changes that are clearly designed to, like, play the game how we want you to play it, which is level when it's safer and not just slam the button. I think this is smart, and it makes racing to the late game less appealing, so the mid game seems to matter a lot more.
There is a part of me that goes, I wonder if we're going to get to a point where they're making too many concessions to get around the damage cap, that it's just a simpler solution to remove the damage cap. I don't think we're there yet, but this does make my brain start to wander in that direction of how much are we twisting, turning, and contorting these rules into pretzels to get around the fact that the damage cap just lets you be greedy.
It's okay. Bob has mustard.
Regular pretzels or spicy pretzels?
Both, if you're me.
Whoa, that little flex there.
I was so stoked. There was a time where I was like excited about that achievement, pursuing it, and then I forgot about it, and then I got both of them in a single game, and I was very excited. And it was only like 2 weeks ago, so it's still fresh in my mind. So yes, expect a little mustard
nice.
flex from me from time to time.
Mustard.
So are you ready for your rating to reset tomorrow?
No. No, because I haven't played a ton, and my MMR is not where I'd like it to be, but such is life. Happy birthday to me, I guess. Back to 0.
I kind of honestly, I like that MMR and Battlegrounds is just a number, because like I have a vague idea that the best of the best are basically over 10K, right? So it's kind of this like loose legend line. And I don't know, it doesn't make me feel as bad in Battlegrounds as the standard ladder does when I don't hit some like magical mystery number. Like, just because they haven't actually put in the game what they consider to be like low ranks, medium ranks, high ranks, it just I can make it up in my head and be like, well, I'm never gonna be Slissa, so that's fine. She's like rank 1 Battlegrounds legend. I'll just hang out around down here at 7K, and this is fine.
Yeah, I'm not gonna beat Slissa in Battlegrounds or to pull construction either. Neither are gonna happen. So now I'm usually I would say I am content past 6K. Whatever happens past 6K is like I'm hungry, but I'm comfortable. If that makes sense. I still want more, and there's a little voice like, just keep going, you wuss, go. What are you doing? But I'm happy. I'm happy. Anyways, yeah. So, anyways, there's going to be some hero updates. Alexstrasza, as Hat alluded to, odds for tier 6 dragons are no longer reduced.
Yeah.
Alexstrasza is now even more of a total luck fest with no skill.
Hey, as someone
there
who
is
consistently
one
finishes high with her,
You're lucky.
To that.
You're the 1% of Hearthstone who gets more golden legendaries than anyone I know. So this makes sense that you just randomly get good bullshit with bullshit hero.
Well, at least you cleaned it up a little, Garrett. Thanks for holding back.
Yeah.
But also keep in mind, Alexstrasza got nerfed this patch too, because when does she get her dragons?
Tier 5, yeah.
Tier
so
5.
She has to pay more gold, yeah.
Yeah.
Or wait longer, yeah.
But so does everybody else, so it is a somewhat relative in terms of a power spike. Just point that out there.
I don't remember what her buddy does, but everybody gets buddies at the same time. So like her hero power is blank for longer when there's been a blanket power increase. I think it matters.
Let's see, because buddies are now on the official site. Hats off to the web team, by the way, because I didn't think that they were going to get this done before the patch, and it is in there, and it's working wonderfully. Valistraz is Alexstras's buddy. It's a tier 3 5/5 dragon. Would you guess that it's a dragon? With a battle cry that reads... Add a random dragon of your tavern tier to your hand. Yep, which means I will get the worst one, Jocelyn will get the best one, and all will be right with the Battlegrounds world.
I'm fine with this system.
I mean, I'm fine too. That buddy is random BS, so it is consistent with Alexstras's terrible design.
I don't know why you hate her so much. She's literally my favorite.
Freaking hate her hero power. I really do just think it's just complete bull. My least favorite hero. Ysera is also getting changed. Bob's Tavern no longer counts as being refreshed at the start of turn if no new minions are added.
Yeah,
so does this mean if you
freeze? Yeah, if you freeze and you haven't taverned up to the point where your tavern would have more minions in it, then it doesn't count as
that's a good. I hadn't thought about that. That's a really, really important distinction. If you had taverned up, you would still add a minion.
Or if you froze and bought one.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, so there are still some, but if you just freeze the tavern, don't do anything, and you're at your minion cap, you won't, it's not refreshed, and you won't get a dragon. Like right now, you do.
So this is essentially combating reroll, getting your dragon, freezing for that dragon, and then getting an additional dragon come the start of next turn.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, which is my favorite thing to do with Ysera. It just feels good. But
yeah. So slight nerf, which I think she needed because she is one of the strongest heroes in Battleground. So,
and dragons have been consistently like the number one most likely to get first place for months now.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, dragons in general.
Though those stats show the players that actually got to dragons, because there are a lot of people that want to be dragons and then they die instead of being dragons, as you alluded to. If you get a Caligos and then take a bunch of damage, you weren't dragons, you just had a Caligos, so the stats won't show your death as dragons.
Yeah, but also if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to head over to compositions real quickly in HS Replay, but dragons, it's like there's a spike at 1, and then it's like almost a plateau across everything else. So it's you either get first or it's kind of mediocre.
Well, and I think Ysera specifically, doesn't she spike at 1 and 8? Like as a hero, like if you're not first, you're last. That's Ysera's motto.
Ysera shows you. Ysera shows you
Ysera,
what
not
happens.
Ricky Bobby, okay?
Ysera shows kind of the issue with the statistical recognition of dragons, because she gets last a lot when you don't get to be dragons, and you get first when you do get to be dragons. So dragons look crazy in the stats because they don't exist before tier 5. And so if you die before tier 5, you were never dragons, even if you wanted to be and you were going for that, even if you got a couple red whelps and a bronze warden or whatever. Like that's not enough to you have to have, I think, 3 or 4 dragons in your comp to be registered as dragons. And if you have a bunch of mediocre medium dragons there and then you die, it's not going to really be counted against it as much. So yeah, you look at the Ysera graph here, big spike at first, but also the second most popular replacement is 8th.
Look at that inverse bell curve. Reminds me of early days of Flurgle.
Which is another tribe-specific hero, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Or type-specific.
Yep. George the Fallen hero power now reads, give a minion divine shield. Developer note is this allows you to target shop minions as well as your minions, which excites me because sometimes I only have enough mana to do this, but I don't really want to
but not
do
buy it. Oh, so it's kind of like banking a hero power. Okay.
Yeah, so you can send it to the shop, freeze the shop, and then buy the minion you wanted with the shield on it next turn.
Right, without messing too much with your. Okay, I see. I get it. Okay. That
Yeah.
that is a cool that is a cool change. I looked at this and I was like, but if it's not on my board, why do I want it to have divine shield? But yeah, freezing it for next turn makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I had definite brain farts around this whole idea.
It's pretty hyper specific too. I have 2 gold left. I really like something that's in the shop, and I know I'm gonna buy it next turn, so I'm gonna freeze anyway. And I don't feel like selling to buying. It's extremely
Right.
specific, but what a cool little flexibility addition this is.
Which
Yeah.
I mean, George was good anyways. He would not have been on my list of heroes to buff. So I find this interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it is a buff for sure. I would say it's a somewhat
It's
minor
very
one.
situational, yeah, but it's still an
I don't
extra
know.
thing he couldn't do before.
I think it's nice that if a hero power can target the shop, it should, just to train players to get used to the idea of targeting the shop. Because I think we saw that a lot when Cookie first came. I was like, why would I want to kill my own stuff? You don't have to. You eat the shop stuff. And so I think a lot of the hero powers now, if it's not specifically a stat buff, you can target the shop. Just kind of nice for that to be consistent.
First time I played Cookie, I bought a token minion on one. It was the tiger. Wouldn't matter because they both have minion types associated with them. The Murloc is the other one. And then I went to go, throw something in my pot from the store, and it wouldn't work. And I was like, "What the hell?" And is it only your own minions? And so I did my Murloc, and then I read it afterwards and realized that it had to be a minion type. I'm like, "Oh, the other 2 were neutrals. I'm the biggest moron on the planet." Go me. Although
I remember
probably
when
still would've-
Malagos first came out and re-rolling minions in the shop. I was like, wait, what? That's a thing you can do? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I kind of love day 1 dummies though. Like they're memories. They're like I remember when I didn't know too much. Yeah. Remember being bad with new heroes? I remember.
I remember.
Yep. Remember Kael'thas, Silas, Darkmoon, and Shenvala being temporarily disabled when the patch launches because there's a bug that was found late in testing? You don't, but it's going to happen tomorrow, so you will remember very soon.
I was wondering what this meme was calling back. Yeah.
I remember.
Garrett was remembering a very specific set of heroes.
Oh! I thought you meant you didn't know where I remember came from.
I don't.
It's from South Park.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah.
Doesn't matter. Kael'thas, Silas
in the game.
Yeah, Kael'thas, Silas, Shenvala are apparently part of a bug that was found late in testing, so they are being temporarily disabled. They are not leaving the minion pool or the hero pool for any reason other than that, so they are going to be added back to the pool once they iron out that bug. So Kael'thas.
These are the count to 3 heroes, right? These are the count to 3 heroes with the orbs over the hero power.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, Silas is the buy the minions with the ticket.
I wonder if it shares code with the new ticking buddy bar.
I bet it does.
Oh, maybe.
I bet you it totally does. Yeah, I bet you the 2 meters just wasn't working out. Yeah, we figured it out. Look at us.
We did it.
Watch. Celestlon is listening to this after the fact going, you morons, that's not it at all.
For some reason, I thought that I knew Silas had to do with tickets. I haven't played him in a long time, and I got him confused with Ticketus. So I was like, "There's something wrong with Darkmoon prizes, maybe." But what does that have to do with Kael'thas? But yeah, you're right. They're the 3 balls.
So it's so it's the Pirate Warrior nerf. That's what it is.
Yeah, sure. And then finally, an island Battlemaster text will now read: Battle Cry, gain +1 health for each health your hero is missing. The dev note is this text change more accurately describes how the card currently works. Specifically, in games where the hero had armor at some point, this is not a functional change to the card. It's just yeah. It's just the technically correct, which is the best form of correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, anyways, those are the additional pieces of information that were uncovered as a result of the official patch notes, as opposed to what is, or in regards to what's coming to Battlegrounds tomorrow. So good luck, everybody. Have fun. Maybe I'll see you in my lobby. Please don't buy things I want to buy. Thank you. This has been my PSA. And now we're going to wrap the show up with some of your questions, emails, and Discord messages. Let's do it.
Hello?
Hello, it's me.
Hello?
Just quickly, do you get my message?
Yep.
Oh,
Hello, brother.
You can send your emails to tacpodcast@gmail.com, or if you're supporting us on Patreon, just drop us a question in the Discord. Skip the inbox entirely. Just talk to us right there. If you want you can tag us. That's fine. You're allowed to. Anyway, Mr. Caldwell writes in and says, now that we know all Battlegrounds buddies, who are you most looking forward to playing, and or what is your favorite new piece of art? You're assuming I've actually taken the time to look at each and every buddy.
I did. I managed to break it down to 5 cute ones and 5 awesome ones. But yeah, in terms of what you're most looking forward to playing, like, without sarcasm, literally all of them. I'm excited for this feature, and I just want to see how heroes play with unique hero power support.
I was just Googling all Battlegrounds buddies in the background. Don't mind me.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good. It's not just me.
Come on, someone has to have done a mega image. Not that Google's quickly, sadly.
I know Ben Hearthstone did.
Oh, Ben Hearthstone should be the top Google image result, but isn't.
Probably because
Unfortunately.
his username
You
is
can
Ben
also
Heatstone.
use the site that you already had up.
You can't you can't quickly scan and look at all the buddies. You have to click on
That's
each
true.
hero individually and hover over the buddy. Which is not a complaint. It's just a usability concern for this specific moment.
Yes.
But Jocelyn, why don't you tell us, do you want to start with cute or do you want to start with awesome?
We can start with cute, because I know that is one of the major questions that happens in every expansion and was brought up multiple times once buddies were announced, is we need to crown a cutest buddy. So I narrowed it down to my top 5. You guys may or may not agree. There are a couple of babies left off of this list, which means that there's probably going to be some riots in the chat room. But
Well, I mean, honestly, 50% of babies are actually hideous and you're just blind to it because it's your child.
wow, Garrett dropping the truth bombs.
Everyone's seen that episode of Seinfeld. I'm not making some bold proclamation
I've
here.
never seen episodes of Seinfeld.
What?
Okay.
That's a whole other
we're gonna-
time for another day, but
Okay, I'm just gonna take my roller chair and scoot off this program. Bye.
Yeah, we'll talk about this later. Figure out what we want the future of the show to be.
All right, you need me here to hover over. I will sit here with this non-Seinfelder and hover over cards for your amusement. All right, Cookie is on your list.
it is, yeah. So sous chef, I mean, first of all, it's Matt Dixon. We love Matt Dixon. A lot of the cutest cards of expansions have been Matt Dixon. I also like his use of color, his cartoony style. I love his art. So he's always going to be on the list. And the fact that this little Murloc is sitting in a pot and cooking himself is love it.
All right. First of all, this is an ugly baby. Second of all, this card isn't cute. It is disturbing on a maximum level. This is a child. This is a newborn baby Murloc that is murdering itself for the sake of flavor.
Okay, but I really like this card from a flavor perspective.
Damn.
Yep. Okay. Here we find ourselves.
So my second choice is Guff's, which is the baby Kodo. I think the baby Kodo is the cutest of the babies. It's like actually like playful and doing
All
stuff,
right,
not
that's-
just like big baby eyes at the camera.
Can confirm that is a cute baby.
Right?
Yeah.
This is my winner right here. This is
Yeah.
look. Look at this little guy.
I,
So cute.
yeah. This was the second one to come to mind for me. My first thought for cutest card, and I know we share this. So is this under M? It's probably under M. Mr. Bigglesworth, the Lil KT.
Yeah, Lil KT.
Aw.
I mean, it's even chasing after the cat like a toddler would.
and also Bigglesworth is cute in this art. So it's like a double because Lil KT
Not as cute as Bigglesworth skin where Bigglesworth is in the present, but
correct.
Still super cute.
Yes. This was the first card to come to my mind when I thought it was like the cutest card. Oh yeah, that little KT card. I really liked that one. I really did like that one. Upon further review, I'm now leaning Baby Kodo again. But yeah, I've got to give it up for little KT. I really like that card. Who else is on your list, Joss?
Weebomination from Patchwork, who I always call Stitches, but it is Patchwork.
Okay, again, you've been playing too much Dead by Deadlight. This is not a cute card.
He's so cute.
He is about.
He's so wee.
If he's cute, Chucky is cute. Because this thing is about to eviscerate you. It's about to show you your insides.
I mean, it's gonna try and it's gonna whack me in the knee, and I'm gonna laugh.
Have you ever had a sharp object hit you in the knee? It still cuts you.
Oh man. Well, I think it's cute.
Did you hit your shins on the bike of your chain as a child and laugh? Because I didn't.
Oh man, Garrett, I don't think you've spent enough time in person with me lately because I am a huge klutz. I hit myself on stuff all the time, so you kind of just have to laugh when it's that big a part of your life.
By the way, I'm going to split the difference between you two. I think this is cute, but I don't want to be that close.
Is that cute from afar?
Yeah.
Cute from a safe distance.
That's exactly what I say to ugly babies. I'm like, oh, so adorable. No, I do not want to hold them. No.
Wow.
This thing is cute when I'm outside of melee range. Like, it's fine.
But his melee range is so little.
Okay, but...
It's like a little T-Rex trying to hit you. Just... No? Am I the only one that sees this?
I see the cuteness, I just also don't want to die. So, like, it's trying to split the difference there.
I see. Okay, so the last one.
You must think Annabelle the doll is cute, is my last thought. That's my last thought.
Oh, man. Okay, I know everyone is going to agree with this one. It's Arphis, because he's the best boy. 100%.
This
He is a
the
good
buddy
boy.
for the Lich King.
Yes.
Arphis, the
Look
best
at that
boy.
little face.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Listen, it's cute. It's the Kodo's cuter.
Yeah, you come down
Kodo's
in the
cuter.
end on the side of Kodo.
Yeah. Listen, this is I have some extremely visual thoughts that are maybe not the best for audio, but not meant as a critique of the of what the artist has accomplished here, because it's a very good illustration. This is a very realistic looking puppy, despite the fact that it's a ghost. It doesn't have like big puppy eyes. It is just really.
But puppies are cute.
They are. This is just like very realistic in a game called Hearthstone, where things are typically stylized, and you could have really punched up the eyes and like made it just look ridiculously adorable, like something you want to make a plush out of. This is something I actually want to go to the pet store and adopt.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. I would like one ghost dog, please.
Listen, if I could go get a ghost dog, which, my God, now I'm thinking of Call of Duty Ghosts. Thanks, Joss. I haven't thought about that miserable disappointment in a long time. But yeah, it's cute. Kodo's cuter. It's got big, ridiculous eyes, and it's a baby dinosaur. Who doesn't want that?
And a big old tongue.
Does it have a big old tongue? I thought it was
That's the
chewing
sound.
on a piece of meat that was like stretching.
I think it's chewing on something. Yeah.
Is that what it is? I thought it was a big tongue.
Let's go back to the
Let's
go
look
back
at our winner.
play back the tape. Yeah, it is holding something under
Sous
its
Chef
foot.
is creepy.
Okay.
Weebomination
I'm gonna look at it
is
over here
cute.
on the Twitch screen.
It's definitely pulling at something.
Okay, I think you're right. This is very like Land Before Time-ish, and that's like it hits me right in the feels.
Oh yeah. Yes, gather around
Big
millennials.
Littlefoot
Let's
energy.
all remember Land Before Time.
Yeah, so there's some sort of like tentacle or root or something coming out of the ground because you can see the other end of it is sticking out the other side of his mouth, but he's definitely chomped onto it and pulling at it.
My vote
you're
is
right,
Baby
you're right.
Kodo.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
Baby
like
Kodo,
Arfus. I like
guess.
go to the pet store and I'd be like, "Do you have any puppies?" And they said, "We only have one, but it's blue." It would be Arfus. That would be that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, Arfus is cute. Don't get me wrong. But it ain't no Baby Kodo.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So my awesome cards are Flight Trainer, which is Gale Wings. I love this art because it's like the trainer is like holding on for dear life and flying behind the griffin, which I just love.
I just like the effect. I'm actually excited to play this one, which is also part of the question. Like, Flight Trainer is just a cool ass card that has a really interesting interaction with a very interesting hero power. But
Very
also
true.
good art. Also good art. Next up on your list is Kurtrus. We're going to go to Kurtrus now.
Yes, for Living Nightmare.
I am failing at the alphabet.
I swear this is not a theme. I just really love this like dark smoke elf looking art. No? Am I the only one?
No,
oh my
it's cool.
god, what has happened to my taste?
It's no, I think I think it's cool. I think it also needed a spooky background. I don't know why there's sand. I'm sure it has something to do with
the background's kind of odd, but
probably a very specific World of Warcraft reference that I'm not remembering. But the art is awesome.
Yep, very much so. I also like Mishmash from Curator, which is
Is that another one where they file it under T for the because
yes,
they hate
the
me?
yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is another amalgam style art, but he's a lot more like robot-y than normal. And I was on the fence about because this has that stylized, cutish kind of art thing. This is, I think, another Matt Dixon. Yeah, so this was another one that was kind of on the fence about cuteness, but decided to just go with awesome.
Also, another card I'm really excited to play with.
Yeah, this is an interesting card.
And it's a tier 2.
Yeah.
So
it's like a bonus. So this gets buffed every time your original 2/2 amalgam gets buffed. So you only like targeted buffs like happen twice basically. It's really neat.
Yeah, you always target your amalgam and then Mishmash is going to get it. But then there's also like if you think of things that like the jug that does multiple minions, it's still going to also hit this because this has the alt tag. But if it then also hits your amalgam, then Mishmash is going to get a double buff out of it. It's a really supremely cool design. And my initial thought looking at it was this is slow and I think it's too slow. And then I saw that it was a Tavern tier 2, which again,
it's going to come fast. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't poured over each and every buddy, but I haven't seen a lot of low tier buddies, and Mishmash is one of them, which I think it needs to be, and it is. So very excited about Mishmash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is really cool. It's an interesting effect, and I know I am totally gonna screw it up. Like more than once. I'm really gonna screw up.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm gonna allow a single F-bomb here in the next minute, so skip ahead if you don't want to hear it, because I'm just now seeing in the notes. Jocelyn, who is this? What hero is this?
Okay, so the next one is the street magician buddy that goes with Aka-whatever-the-cluck, because I can never understand how to say his name.
Listeners, if you go to the show notes, that is what's written, and I didn't notice it until just now, and it's hysterical.
I wish we could make that the show title, but we probably can't.
No,
hey, asterisks go a long way.
I guess that is true.
Aka whatever the F. Yeah.
Like his name is too long. There's too many weird consonants. I just can't be bothered.
The great Akazamzarak is who you're talking about.
Okay. I have updated the show title, Aka-whatever-the-cluck.
Hey!
Love it. There we go.
There it is.
Yeah, I like this art.
It's a goblin pulling a murderous bunny out of a hat.
Yeah, it's the 10 mana rushing poison bunny.
The Dark Moon Bunny.
Dark
yeah.
Moon
Dark
Bunny.
Moon Bunny.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jocelyn, is this bunny cute?
No.
All right, I no longer have an understanding of what you find cute and you don't, because I was pretty sure you were going to find this one
There's a
cute.
line between this
There
and
was
the
a
tiny
line,
construct.
Yeah, there is. I think it's because the bunny just looks evil. It has like red eyes. It's got sharp, pointy teeth. Like,
As
yeah.
opposed
The
to
combinations is so cute.
As opposed to the tiny combination of human flesh with a cleaver.
Okay, when you put it that way.
stitched together human flesh with a cleaver and a third tiny creepy arm.
Okay, you
Has
know
more
what?
arms than it should, and one of the arms is also just it's not right. It's
I
not
guess
right.
it does kind of come out of the shoulder, doesn't it? Anyway, but wait, my arms come out of my shoulders.
Do they come out of the back of your shoulder blade?
Three?
Anyways, yeah.
Oh, man.
Another one. I'm not as excited to like play this one, but Aka-whatever-the-cluck is like my go-to fallback hero. I think it's one of my most played heroes. I don't get excited about it, but I always do well. I always eke out a decent placement most of the time. Always, most of the time.
See,
so-
that's
Yeah.
how I feel about Alex Straza. Because I see this dude when he's offered to me, and I've tried taking him because I know you like to play him, or at least he's pretty steady hero. for
Like
you.
is a
And
strong
man,
word.
I cannot win with this guy.
Okay, that's
Not my favorite.
That's not the appeal of Aka-whatever-the-cluck. The thing about this guy, it's not. I don't want to pick this hero. I just want to have Ice Block. And this guy lets me get Ice Block, and then I stop pressing the button because I got what I came here for.
Oh, I don't know. I really like getting competitive spirit early on. That makes me real happy.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
the poison thing late is usually helpful.
The
but
poison thing
anyway,
early
it's
can
fine.
be gross too. You get an extra
Yeah.
minion. Like early game, sometimes like yeah.
Anyways.
Wow, the more we talk about Aka-whatever-the-cluck, the more I want to sing his version. Maybe do I like Aka-whatever-the-cluck?
I think you do, Garrett, because this
I'm
is not
pretty
the
sure you
first
do.
time that we've had this conversation.
Here all this time I thought it was just the most consistent hero that I settle for.
He doesn't have to know you're settling. We'll just keep
All
that
right.
between
All
us.
right.
Fine.
And then finally, Accolade of Yogg. I really like this art too.
This is up there for my favorite art so far of Buddies
Yeah.
for sure.
It's
Just-
not really cute. And again, I know I have a thing for Matt Dixon. I know. Like a lot of my choices are his art. But yeah, it's a Murloc with like a banner for Yogg. I just love it. Spin the wheel, praise Yogg.
It's a little cute, except you can tell this Murloc is definitely insane.
Yes.
not well. No.
No, something's definitely off there.
Not well. Yeah, but
Yeah, so
however,
that's
this
my
is the
list.
battle cry "Spin the Wheel of Yogg-Saron," which
Have we said
Praise
what that
Yogg.
does yet? Have we said that?
I don't know if we actually have a list, but it's very similar to standard, right? So you spin the wheel and then you get is it 6 possible results where like
We do have a list.
we
do
do
you
have a
want a
list.
Do you have a
Okay,
link
'cause
to
I was
that
gonna say, I
list?
think
We have
it's
a
like an 18% or 19% chance to get most things and then a 5% chance to get something super broken.
do
Yep.
we
We
have
have
a link
a
to that
list.
list?
We do. Slissa tweeted it, and Mitchell Lowen, one of the devs on the BG team, confirmed it. And so the 6 options, 5 of them are normal weight 19%, and one of them, the Rod of Roasting, is 5%. HP triggers an extra time the rest of the game. 3 random Dark Moon prizes. Give all friendly minions +3/+3, and then exchange their stats. This is only minions you own. So like it just moves the stats around among minions that you own. It can't hit the shop. Eat Bob's Tavern. I assume like Frenzied Fellbat, and then refresh the whole thing. Steal Bob's Tavern, and then refresh the whole thing. Or Rod of Roasting. Cast Pyro buff +4/+4 to all units, including the shop, until one hits your bartender or the hero.
That's crazy.
Do I get
That's
4
the
health if it hits
5%.
me?
That's the 5% thing, right?
No, nothing happens if it hits you or Bob except it stops.
That
But
I should heal
otherwise,
for
it's
4,
bouncing.
and Bob should get sexier.
Impossible.
Okay. Yes. First, what Jocelyn said. Second of all, Pyroblast, not typically a healing spell.
I wondered
I
when
don't-
Garrett said I should heal, but I guess
this isn't
it's a
Pyro
buff-
Blast.
It's a buff
This is
bouncing.
Pyro
Yeah.
buff. Bob should get more buff, therefore steamier, and I should heal for 4.
There's actually like steam that starts rising around his portrait.
I can imagine Bob saying, "Oh, I'm a smoke show."
That I don't know
We
if that
need
came
just
to you
that
that
clip of
easily
Garrett.
or if you'd practiced that.
Like you could just cut off Bob at the beginning and just have Garrett saying, "I'm a smoke show."
I have
Oh,
no
so
reason
many.
to practice
many
that,
good
Hat.
clips.
So do with that information what you will.
All right, Hat, you have one to add to my list of 10 out of 75. Like, there's so much good art in here, guys. Like,
Yeah.
go take a look. But yeah,
Okay.
what's your honorable mention for whatever category?
You both know what I'm picking here, right?
Well, we
Dancing
already
Daryl.
talked about. Oh,
Dancing
okay,
Daryl.
yeah. See, we talked about that one last week, so there were a couple of them that we had already talked about last week that I didn't think I should bring up again. But yeah, so
I am
Dancing
contractually
Daryl's-
obligated to bring up Asher
one
the
about
Hat.
the hats.
The hat guy. Puffin confirmed, by the way, on Twitter, he used to just give an extra hat, but it was too many hats. So, I mean, if I see this in the store, if I see this in Hero Selection, I'm taking Daryl. It's a lot of hats.
So many hats.
Yeah. Well, there we had it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all it deserves. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
That's all it deserves. All right, Hat, you want to bring us home with the last email question?
I do. I promise I will try and keep this brief, but no, I'll try. Success not warranted. So Crazy Penguin, we remember them. Asks, what could be done to make off-meta decks more accessible? I feel like there is a craving for variety in the community, but also this perception that you have to play tier 1 decks if you want to win games of Hearthstone. Net taking from HSR or Vicious Syndicate has the advantage of being an easy way to play something solid. Not everyone wants to dig or build or experiment, and that makes sense. My question is, would it be possible to provide a similar level of accessibility for weird tier 2 or 3-ish decks that might not be viable in High Legend but fine everywhere else? HSR and VS already have some of these, but they are understandably pushed down on the list. Could something be done there? Love you all, mad flightless birds forever. Okay, so I'm going to start this. Disclaimer as always. If you want to play the way you want to play, more power to you. There is a push and pull in all competitive games. Hearthstone is no exception between playing the way I want to play and playing on the game's terms. If you want to play in the game's terms, that means playing what's meta. If you want to play your way, you have to kind of accept you're likely going to have a lower win rate, except for those rare times where either the way the game wants to be played is the way that you like to play the most, or when you invent something that turns out to be really good. But the thing about inventing something that turns out to be really good is that is no longer an off-meta deck. Whirl Kick Rogue was a weird, strange-looking rogue decklist in Dark Moon Fair, and a month later, it was meta because it was good. Cube Warlock. What the hell is this? It didn't make any sense. It looked like a really strange deck that just came out of nowhere, like an autocomplete
Why would you
deck.
bring that up?
That's because it was a weird abomination that ended up being good for a year and a half, and they had to nerf it. But 3 weeks after it was this bizarre off-meta creation, it was good. It's not off-meta anymore. So off-meta usually means not quite efficient enough to be highly competitive. Doesn't mean you can't win with it. But if you're the kind of person that wants to go off meta, you're already doing this because you know it's not the best way to win games, but you want to do it, so you're doing it anyways. I do think there is some relevance here. I'm going to mention Stormwind specifically. The power of the quest mechanic. There's a day 9 video that's really amazing called Just F and Kill. And it encapsulates the way that I think about strategy games more succinctly than any 5-minute video ever has. It's in the show notes. We got it linked here. And it says that, if someone's doing something a little strange, a little off meta, a little unusual, the reason the standard things are standard is because they work. And if someone's doing something non standard, it's probably inefficient. Go kill them. That's usually what happens. So, if you want to play something a little bit off meta, you can, but you're probably going to die. Now, Stormwind quests made lethality a little too easy to come by, and in particular, Quest Mage was so efficient that, like, if you tried something off meta, you got informed way too quickly that what you were doing was off meta because you died to fireballs on turn 6 or 7. It doesn't have to be that extreme. It doesn't have to be that far. But this is already something that's happening in the game. And so, in order for off meta to be pushed, you basically have to tell people here are things that haven't been good enough to reliably compete. And I think it would be maybe not the best idea to advertise these things to players because they're looking to net deck and play and they want to win games. And if you give someone something that's, 48% win rate and say, go try this out, I don't know how well that would go, except for the players that are already looking for the weirdo 48% win rate decks. They don't need the help finding those because they already know that's what they're looking for. Does that make sense? Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like I understand it's almost like below the fold, right? It's like
Yeah,
everything that you want to play or that is like the best of the best is the first few results, right? When you're looking at whatever your report of choice is. You've usually got 3 or 4 results that you can see before you got to scroll. And as soon as you got to scroll, it's like, well, do I even really want to? Like the only time you're really scrolling is if like you absolutely hate those top 4 choices. And I mean, I do a lot of scrolling because there's some
sure.
classes that I just don't play. And that's my personal preference, but that means I'm often in this bucket. I don't tinker with the decks to try to fix them, but I'm often in the tier 2, tier 3 bucket. And then I get frustrated because I don't win. So I'm this weird, like, combination of the two play styles, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, like, I think it's more of a question of like, I think you're right, Hat, that those people who are looking for them just do the scrolling or they search by class or whatever. They have an idea of where they want to play and they're just looking for a suggestion that's a little bit different. It's I guess the crazy penguin is assuming that there are people who maybe don't do that but might like that play style if it was presented to them by third parties more often. And I think honestly, like the most interesting times I've ever had are when I randomly run into stuff on ladder. They do something crazy I've never seen before, and I'm like, wait, what just happened to me? Like, what is your deck and
Yeah.
what is going on? Like, that's how I discover new stuff like that. But I wonder if there's a world where third party sites would make a page that's like, hey, close to viable but needs some tinkering, or, like off meta deck of the month or something. I don't know.
Well, and
Do you
Mad at
think
Arms in
third
the chat has
parties
a
should even
great
have to
point.
do that?
Well, Mad at Arms in the chat makes a great point. Vicious Syndicate and Tempo Storm and all that, they already have this. It's called tier 3 and 4. Because like, but that's really what it is that a deck is off meta because it doesn't win very much, because it
Yeah,
doesn't win enough against the good stuff. So, like, that is a reality. If something wins against the good decks, it's not off meta anymore. It's good. And there can be decks.
it's
I know that
undiscovered.
in well, like, so undiscovered, there's not going to be any way for the datasets to report on it because it hasn't been
Yeah,
discovered. But if you look at the last Vicious Syndicate report, Rune of the Archmage, Wildfire Mage is good against both rogue decks. It loses to a lot of other stuff. It doesn't win enough to not be in tier 3, but it's specifically called out in the report of if you just want a deck that's good against the rogue specifically, Wildfire Rune of the Archmage Mage, absolutely good enough. I've been playing some of it. It is, but you lose more than you win most of the time. And this is not just a high legend thing. High legend is a particularly narrow field, but it also looks really different to the rest of ladder. And so most of the decks that you see when you look at these meta snapshots are really filtered on the diamond to legend experience, that 9x, 10x bracket. That's where the biggest magnitude of players that routinely report their data sit. So usually when you're looking at tier lists, it's built around that MMR. High Legend only is a weird, strange place where people meta against, like, they metagame against specific other players because they run into them 4 or 5 times in a gaming session. And No Hands was on one of my other shows last week on Coin Concede, and he said that he played against someone that added a second guild trader to that Poison Rogue deck specifically to beat him, just him as a person. So, like, you're already not seeing those decks on the meta snapshots because there's not really enough data. The data that you're seeing is gonna be in that 9x, 10x bracket, and the off meta stuff is lower on the tier list because the reality is if it was meta, it would win more, and so that's why it's off meta. So, as long as you're okay with accepting, I can play something that's more my speed and I'll win less and I'll work harder and that's okay, it's right there. Just scroll down a little on the tier list. But if you're looking for it to be specifically called out, it's rare that there's potential that hasn't been realized in something off meta that doesn't turn into a meta deck very soon. This is what happened with Taunt Druid in Stormwind. The first couple weeks of the expansion, it looked like this weird off meta strange thing, and then people figured out the build and cut Cornelius Rome and made a good list, and then it was a meta deck for the rest of the expansion until they nerfed Razor main battle card. So there's just this really small window where something off meta can be good before it becomes meta, and so usually what you're looking for is just the lower win rate stuff, and that's as long as you make peace with that, then it's right there. The information's on these reports already.
I find it odd that we don't have like similar conversations in Battlegrounds. It's like, what is the equivalent? Like, I wish I picked worse heroes more often. Like, they're
Yeah, I mean, it's like if someone was saying Arana Starseeker Elementals, where
I was going to
you
use the
hyper roll to
same.
get the
I was going to use
Yeah.
the same example. Like, Arana is my poster child for dumpster tier Battlegrounds heroes. And it's just like,
Right.
oh, I wish I felt good picking Arana more often. It's just like, and I kind of do that, not with Arana, but Bigglesworth. We've talked about this before. Like, Bigglesworth is not a consistent hero at all, but it's one of my favorite heroes to play. And
Yeah,
I know
but
I'm setting myself
pick 'em
up
every time.
yeah, I know I'm setting
Right.
myself up for an uphill battle, but when it does pan out, when I get that Bigglesworth value, it feels amazing, and there's no feeling like it in the world. And the same is true playing off meta decks, especially if you're going for these big ridiculous, I want to be on a Trollden video type of like greedy ridiculous combo decks. You know, there's a reason we've had ridiculous payoff cards in the past that have never made it into the meta, but they're there. They're being printed for you for the type of experience that you are. I think, looking for Crazy Penguin. So you are being supported by the devs that make the game. And so often, and I'm not saying you're doing this, Crazy Penguin, but this is a common thread that we return to time and time again. And I always look at it and I see players that want to live in an impossible reality where we
Yeah,
aren't
How do I make
interconnected.
my thing better?
Yeah.
How do I make my thing better?
No, it's not. It's not even
But
that.
no
It's-
one else
it's-
can play it because it can't be popular.
right. It's like this hipster hope that no
Yeah.
one ever found out about anything
Hipster
other than
hope. I love
vinyl.
it.
Like we would need to not be able to talk to each other. We would need to not be able to tell each other what works, to track statistics, to have any sort of communication. And that's what I like. It's a little bit of an extreme, but that is where my brain goes when we get in this conversation. I'm like, it's just simply not realistic to have a world where off meta decks, which again I translate to low win rate decks, have a higher win rate. They're off meta for exactly like you said, Hat. They're off meta because they're not as optimized.
However, the reason why I play the crap out of the first week or 2 weeks of an expansion and first 3 to 4 weeks out of rotation metas is because everything's off meta, and that's the best part of Hearthstone. You can play whatever you want. No one has any clue what's good, especially right after rotation. You can play random nonsense, and you'll probably get there because everyone else is playing random nonsense. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And at the same time, too, like there are people that absolutely enjoy playing off meta stuff, and they have the mindset that Hat you mentioned is kind of necessary, which is like making peace with losses. Like if your
Yeah.
goal is to play decks that you find fun or you find thematic or, have some sort of big payoff that you're looking for that's absurd or fun or whatever, that is kind of the goal. That is kind of the payoff. The payoff is not going to be legend rank. And that's fine. Just because we as a community seem to, most conversations lean that direction. Like, how can I get legend? How can I improve my win rate? How can I win more often? How can I squeeze more wins into the limited game time that I have? These are the kind of conversations that things tend to devolve into. That doesn't mean that you need to look that direction. Like you need to find your own, you need to set your own level for success.
Mm-hmm.
And highly skilled players, they win with random nonsense all the time. If you build up the skill set, people meme a lot in top 200. More than I realized that they would meme. There's a lot of nonsense going on there because if there's someone that's routinely top 10 legend they can meme down to a low rank like 110 or something like that, and then just climb their way back up whenever. It's all a question of perspective, but like I've been leatherworking kitted in top 100. Like people will play whatever they want, but if you've got the skill set, then you can either make that deck win or not lose as much with it. It's playing a better deck will help you win more. You don't need that to get into legend. But if to exceed your current skill plateau, you usually need a deck that removes obstacles so that you can focus just on the fundamentals. And playing something off meta is more likely to introduce new obstacles that you don't have the skill set to solve yet, so you'll just win a lot less. If you have the skill set already to win with good stuff, then you're more likely to win with the less competitive strategies as well, and you can absolutely get to legend with that if you want to.
It's learning the rules so that you know how to break the rules, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
Yeah. I don't know. Car analogy, I always think of this as like, I want to drag race, but I want to do it in a stock Miata. You can. You're going to be slower than crap, but you can. And there's other things you can work on if you do that, by the way. There is an actual answer for this in drag racing, which is you can work on your reaction timing. Like you can improve your own personal lap time with that car. Like there is room for improvement. So yeah, this is true across so many things. And here's the storm right now. I'm just slamming quick match games with Illidan. I would love nothing more than to go into Storm League, a draft environment, and just play Illidan over and over and over again. And while I could, A, I would make my team really freaking mad in a lot of scenarios. And B, probably wouldn't win very much. But I'd have a smile on my face and a blindfold over my eyes. So, yeah. You're not alone, and it's definitely not specific to Hearthstone. So, anyway, let us know what you think. Crazy Penguin would love to hear a follow-up to our response to this. So, anyways, keep the emails coming, everybody. tacpodcast@gmail.com, or drop us a question right there in the patron Discord. I say right there, if you're watching on video, that's where my second monitor is, and I've got the Discord up right now, where I now see that Hat dropped the mega image that I was looking for. But I didn't have it up before. So anyways, there's that. That's going to do it for this episode. Thanks again to those of you supporting us over at patreon.com/TAC. $1 or more, folks, whatever you feel like the Angry Chicken is worth, we really appreciate it. As many people as there are over on the Patreon, giving $1 or more, it all adds up, and it supports Hat, Jocelyn, and myself in making this program. We really appreciate it. Don't listen to... no one's actually said this in a while, but we're not paid by Blizzard, or in this case, Microsoft. So we are paid by our patrons. So thank you very much. And a huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Dustin C. and Declan H. If you want to become a producer, check out patreon.com/TAC. You can follow the show on Twitter @TAC Podcast, or catch us live Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on twitch.tv/HeyMoveTV. But around the table, before we go, Jocelyn, where can folks find you when you're, not being a frenzied foul?
Just head on over to either Twitter or Twitch. I am Joss Plays in both places. That's JOCE Plays.
Hi, Hat. Where can people find you?
You can find me in the Angry Chicken Discord, but also you can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/ridiculoushat. That's the hub of my content. I also do 2 other Hearthstone podcasts, Coin Concede, coinconcede.com, and we make the competitive side of the game more accessible to you. We had No Hands Gamer on last week. That was great if you like No Hands Gamer, which I sure do. And Vicious Syndicate, where we do the data things and we list meta and off meta decks down in the tier 3 and tier 4 area. Over on vicioussyndicate.com, we take a data-driven look at the standard meta game. And just to show we're not paid by Microsoft, I use Google Docs. I think it's great. Garrett, where can people find you?
Enjoying my brand new Xbox Series X. Actually, did recently get one. It is actually wonderful. I really like it. I also have a PlayStation, so like travelism is dead to me. Garrett Art on Twitter. I don't know why I did any of that. Yeah, you can find just nonsense ramblings like that at Garrett Art on Twitter. You can also, I would really appreciate it if you went to youtube.com/amovetv, because a couple of months ago, I dusted that YouTube off and started chronicling my first time playing through Final Fantasy XIV, and that is continuing now that I've hit Heaven's Ward with my good buddy Kyle from Into the Nexus. We are playing through Final Fantasy XIV together, and doing a video every damn week. New video coming this Wednesday. And last week's video was about, I'm literally blanking on it. It was getting to Heavensward. So check that out, youtube.com/amovetv. We also did a test stream today that went for 3 hours because over 150 people showed up on YouTube to watch us stream with no cameras. And I'm very confused.
What?
YouTube's going well.
You said over 150 people? What are you, a master store?
Oh, well done. Don't worry. I'm sure
Bazinga!
there's only places to go. They can only go up from here, which includes the defunct Mixer. So good luck to Hearthstone Esports in their new streaming home. That's a terrible joke that I made last week, and I don't know why I'm making it again. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of The Angry Chicken.
This week it's Remixer.
Remixer! That doesn't work. Until next week, everybody, job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.